Hi, my name is Donna. I'm from Long Island, New York, and I'm taking this entrepreneurship course so that I can get the tools and the knowledge to um, take my mushroom business to the next level. I recently began marketing and selling my mushrooms. It started out 3 years ago. I was just hiking through the woods, and I'm a very inquisitive person. I like to look at patterns. I have a real eye for. I'm great at puzzles. I don't know what I can say. I can spot a mushroom in the dark. So as I started foraging for wild mushrooms, uh, friends and family were just saying like, "Oh, you're so interested in this. Like, why don't you start a business?" So I got my license to sell wild mushrooms, and so I was selling the rare and famous and expensive mushroom, the morel mushroom. So I was selling those, and I was just amazed about how many people wanted to buy them through Facebook Marketplace and in town. When I put up my little flyers, people were responding, and I didn't have enough mushrooms to sell. So I was like, well, I better start growing them. So right before I graduated in June with my bachelor's degree in creative writing, I began a small 5x5 greenhouse growing pink oyster mushrooms. And now I have a restaurant interested in building a mushroom farm in the basement of their restaurant and selling my mushrooms in their restaurant, a vegan restaurant. Vegans are like going crazy for mushrooms because they're high in protein, and vegans don't eat meat, um, as you probably already know. And there's also things you can do with mushrooms besides food. They've been used for thousands of years for medicinal value, such as anti inflammatory, anti cancer, antimicrobial. We know that antibiotics come from moldy bread. During the First World War, I think it was, the doctors were slapping on moldy bread to soldiers' wounds, and I don't know who discovered it, but a famous scientist, I'm sure, discovered and eventually developed antibiotics as we know them today. And mycelium, which is like the network of fibers in the soil, or you might have seen them on a log of wood, is kind of like the roots of a mushroom. And the mycelium is being grown in factory settings to create styrofoam alternatives. It's called mushroom packaging. There's a company called Ecovative, and they've pioneered that technology. Um, and there's also the amazing ability that mushrooms have to clean up oil spills, and they call it mycoremediation. It's um, it's a way of cleaning up contaminants using fungi, or fungi, or fungi, as people call it, all kinds of things. And with our society having ever more and more chemicals in the environment, like PFAS, or also called like forever chemicals, these are very dangerous chemicals that are building up in our systems, in the human body, that fungi can help to, they can eat up the chemicals. Literally, they can eat the chemicals and then, like, basically just decompose. And that is amazing. And so I think fungi have this amazing ability to heal the planet and heal ourselves. And I don't want to oversimplify, mushrooms can save the world, but I mean, they can save the world, but I'm biased. Um, so my goal is really to learn ways that I can use my platform as a business owner to help other people become financially secure. I grew up in a very dysfunctional family. My parents were separated, and they didn't do well financially. And my grandfather was an orphan. And basically what I'm trying to say is I come from people that have not been well off. And Professor Lopresti mentioned that his family immigrated from Italy. My great grandfather immigrated from Sicily. So I'm 85% Italian. My dad is full Italian. My mom is half Italian. And my dad is a huge lefty, so always on about unions and labor and the government, and how the government is too often makes it difficult for employees to negotiate for better pay, better working conditions. And also, as someone who had a lot of behavioral issues growing up, I was like in and out of, I was expelled, I was suspended, I got into fights. I want to help at-risk youth who, don't have good role models, or maybe their parents need better jobs so they can actually have some time off. So to sum that up, I don't see this as just a way to get rich. I see it as a way to give back. And when I did my creative writing degree, and then I considered doing an MFA, I just didn't know how. I couldn't see myself writing novels or something like R.R. Martin or Margaret Atwood. Or in novelists have an important place in our society. They can open up our minds and help us feel seen and heard. But I don't think that's what I'm meant to do. I think I have a personality that makes people feel at ease. I'm good at networking. I'm not sure if I'm an introvert or an extrovert, maybe an ambivert. But I'm pretty good at chatting people up. And I think part of that comes from being a New Yorker. And like, my dad is a limo driver, and now he does Uber because he's older, he's retired. But he was a taxi driver, a limo driver. My mom was a carpenter, and she's very, they can just talk to anyone. Let me just put it that way. And so my brother described me when I was young. I was doing like lemonade stands and stuff, and he would describe me as someone who could sell a Q-tip to someone without an ear. So like, I don't know. People open up to me pretty easily. So anyway, this is a long video, but I'm so excited to be in this class and to work with everyone. And I'm just totally energized by this. So I look forward to listening to everyone else's introductions.